In the world of hip-hop, few friendships seemed as unbreakable as the bond between Kanye West and Kid Cudi. To the outside world, they weren't just collaborators, they were brothers, creative soulmates who changed the course of modern rap and music as a whole. But now, after years of turbulence, betrayals, and painful words, Kid Cudi has officially declared he's done with Kanye, and according to him, there's simply no coming back. In his new memoir, Cudi, the memoir, the day and night rapper, revealed that his relationship with Kanye West has completely ended, leaving fans heartbroken but perhaps not entirely surprised. Cudi, born Scott Cudi, openly admits that the split hurts. In fact, when asked about the state of their friendship during his CBS Mornings interview, Cudi didn't sugarcoat it. He said, "It's a sad thing. It just will never happen again. You know? And that is the heartbreaking side of things. But hey, I had a lot of things in my life break my heart and I've been able to survive and move past it." This was no casual statement. Cudi, who is now 41, made it clear that he has fully cut Kanye out of his life, the man he once called a big brother, the mentor who helped launch his career, the figure who once shaped his future. For fans who grew up listening to their collaborations, from Welcome to Heartbreak to their joint album Kids See Ghosts, the idea of these two creative forces no longer speaking feels like the end of an era. But what went so wrong? How did a friendship that was once filled with love, respect, and game-changing artistry transform into one of the most public and heartbreaking rifts in hip-hop? Cudi explains that his decision wasn't made overnight. It was years in the making, the result of being heartbroken over and over, multiple times. He says Kanye West simply crossed lines that couldn't be uncrossed, saying and doing things that Cudi could no longer forgive. Perhaps the most painful blow came earlier this year when Kanye West made deeply offensive comments about the late Virgil Abloh, their mutual friend and one of fashion's most respected creative minds, who passed away in 2021. Cudi described Kanye's remarks about Virgil as the most evil, vile, disturbing, effed up things he'd ever heard in his life. For Cudi, this wasn't just another Kanye outburst. This was personal. Virgil wasn't just Kanye's friend, he was loved and respected by Cudi too. To hear Kanye disrespect Virgil's legacy was enough to make Cudi say, "I'm done with you." And yet, even in his anger, Cudi couldn't hide the heartbreak. He admitted, "It breaks my heart, because I loved Kanye, you know? I really loved him, he was a part of my life changing." These words highlight just how deep their bond once was, and why this split cuts so painfully. For fans, the news is bittersweet. On one hand, it's devastating to see an iconic friendship come to an end. On the other hand, it's impossible not to feel proud of Cudi for choosing peace, for setting boundaries, and for refusing to let toxic behavior continue in his life. As he said, Kanye is simply not the same person anymore. At some point, he was a really good friend, but the man that he has become, I just don't know that guy anymore. The story of Kanye West and Kid Cudi's broken friendship is layered, filled with love, betrayal, forgiveness, and heartbreak. And as we dive deeper into their history, the reasons behind this permanent break become even clearer. To understand just how heartbreaking Kid Cudi's declaration truly is, we need to look back at the history of his relationship with Kanye West. Their bond wasn't just personal, it was artistic, spiritual, and at one point, it felt like destiny itself had brought them together. Scott Cudi, better known as Kid Cudi, first crossed paths with Kanye West in the mid-2000s, years before his big break. At the time, Cudi was just another struggling musician in New York City, hustling to get noticed. But his innovative sound and raw emotional honesty quickly set him apart. When Kanye discovered Cudi's work, he recognized something unique. A voice that could help redefine hip-hop. By 2008, Cudi had signed to Kanye's Good Music label, marking the beginning of a partnership that would shake the music world. Cudi's influence on Kanye's groundbreaking album 808s and Heartbreak cannot be overstated. His haunting melodies and introspective style became the backbone of that project, which went on to influence an entire generation of artists, from Drake to Travis Scott. In many ways, Cudi gave Kanye a new creative direction at a time when he needed it most, following the tragic passing of Kanye's mother, Donda West. Their collaboration felt like lightning in a bottle, emotional, experimental, and revolutionary. The partnership only grew stronger over the years. Songs like Welcome to Heartbreak and Erase Me highlighted their undeniable chemistry, while Cudi's solo career flourished with Kanye's guidance. Fans began to view them as a dream team, two visionaries who spoke the same musical language. For Kanye, Cudi was more than just an artist on his label, he was family. And for Cudi, Kanye wasn't just a boss. He was a big brother, someone who believed in him when others didn't. But even as the world celebrated their collaborations, cracks began to form beneath the surface. By 2013, during the Yeezus era, tensions flared. Kanye used old vocals From Cudi on the track Guilt Trip without telling him, and the move left Cudi feeling disrespected. In an interview with Complex, Cudi openly questioned why Kanye didn't just ask him to properly contribute to the album. "Why not call me and have me come in there and give it?" Cudi said. "Why underuse me? Why put 4 bars of vocals? To coax my fans into thinking this is a legitimate Kid Cudi feature on this song and it isn't." That moment was a turning point. It showed that while they still respected each other, the communication and trust that once defined their relationship were starting to erode. Still, despite the tension, the two found ways to reconcile. In 2016 and 2017, they reunited on stage. And in the studio, proving that their artistic bond was strong enough to survive disagreements. Their joint project Kids See Ghosts in 2018 became a critically acclaimed masterpiece, an album that fans saw as the ultimate symbol of their brotherhood. It was raw, vulnerable, and filled with themes of healing and self-discovery. Many believed that no matter what happened, Kanye and Cudi would always find their way back to each other, but unfortunately, history would prove otherwise. The cracks that appeared during Yeezus never fully disappeared, and as Kanye's public controversies grew louder in the years that followed, Cudi found himself questioning whether the man he once loved like a brother was even the same person anymore. And when Kanye brought Pete Davidson, Cudi's close friend, into the drama during his split with Kim Kardashian, the relationship took another devastating hit. What was once one of hip-hop's most beautiful partnerships was now unraveling in the most public and painful way possible. If the cracks in Kid Cudi and Kanye West's friendship had been widening for years, then the involvement of Pete Davidson blew them wide open. What had once been a creative brotherhood was now being dragged into one of the most public celebrity feuds of the decade. Kanye split with Kim Kardashian. When Kim began dating Pete Davidson in late 2021, Kanye launched a social media campaign against both of them, often using his Instagram account as a weapon. But for Cudi, things became complicated because Pete wasn't just another celebrity in the mix, he was his close friend. The connection immediately put Cudi in an awkward position. In Kanye's eyes, anyone associated with Pete became an enemy. And that included Kid Cudi. By February 2022, the feud had gone public in a dramatic and explosive way. Kanye posted on Instagram, tagging Cudi and Kim Kardashian, and declared that Cudi would no longer be featured on his highly anticipated Donda 2 album. "Just so everyone knows, Cudi will not be on Donda because he's friends with you-know-who," Kanye wrote. The jab was a direct reference to Pete Davidson, and it instantly set the internet ablaze. For fans, it was shocking. Here were two artists who had once stood side by side as brothers, now using the internet to air their grievances. And for Cudi, the post was the final straw. He responded quickly and fiercely on Twitter, now X, calling Kanye out for lying and twisting the narrative. "We talked weeks ago about this," Cudi wrote back. "You're whack for flipping the script and posting this lie just for a look on the internet. You ain't no friend. Bye." The response was short, sharp, and devastating. It wasn't just a disagreement over music, it was Cudi drawing a line in the sand. For years, he had defended Kanye, supported him, and stood by him through controversies. But this time, Kanye had gone too far. By attacking Cudi publicly, especially over something as personal as friendship, Kanye had burned a bridge that would never be rebuilt. The fallout didn't end there. Their fans, who once celebrated their collaborations, began taking sides. On social media, Kanye's followers defended him fiercely, while Cudi's supporters pointed out that he had always been the more loyal friend. It was a messy, public unraveling of one of hip-hop's most important friendships. Even as the feud raged online, the betrayal cut deeper than just a disagreement over music or friends. For Cudi, Kanye's behavior symbolized something larger. A man he no longer recognized. Kanye wasn't the same mentor who had believed in him back in 2008, or the brother who had stood by his side during their most vulnerable musical projects. This was someone else entirely, someone unpredictable and hurtful. Looking back, it's clear that the Pete Davidson factor wasn't the sole cause of the fallout, but it was the breaking point. It forced Cudi to face the reality that his relationship with Kanye had become toxic. It wasn't just about artistic differences or industry politics anymore. It was about respect, loyalty, and basic decency, all of which Cudi felt Kanye had abandoned. By the time the dust settled, one thing had become clear: their friendship was beyond repair. The once unshakable bond that gave fans masterpieces like 808s and Heartbreak and Kids See Ghosts was now a casualty of personal grudges, internet posts, and broken trust. For Cudi, the decision was heartbreaking but necessary. Sometimes, even when history and art bind two people together, the pain of betrayal outweighs the beauty of the past. By 2025, the writing was on the wall. Kid Cudi and Kanye West's relationship was over. What had once been one of the most powerful And creatively electric friendships in modern hip-hop had collapsed under the weight of betrayal, anger, and public outbursts. For fans, it was heartbreaking to watch. But for Cudi, it was something even deeper, the loss of a brother he once loved. In August 2025, while promoting his new book Cudi, the memoir, the rapper finally addressed the rift with a raw honesty that left little room for interpretation. Sitting down with CBS Mornings, Cudi didn't hold back. He admitted, plain and simple, "It's a sad thing. It just will never happen again, you know? And that is the heartbreaking side of things. But hey, I had a lot of things in my life break my heart, and I've been able to survive and move past it." Those words, though simple, carried the weight of years of pain. For fans who had followed their journey since 2008, when Kanye first signed Cudi to his Good Music label, the admission felt like the closing of a historic chapter. Cudi wasn't just saying they were on a break. He was saying it was finished, done, and final. In the memoir, Cudi goes deeper. He recalls how Kanye had broken his heart over and over, multiple times, through careless actions and cruel words. But the most devastating blow, according to Cudi, came when Kanye made what he described as the most evil, vile, disturbing f'd up things about the late Virgil Abloh, comments Cudi says he could never forgive. Virgil wasn't just a designer, he was a visionary, a beloved figure, and a friend to both Kanye and Cudi. For Cudi, that was the moment he realized there was truly no coming back. "Virgil was an angel to everyone," Cudi said, visibly emotional. "There's no coming back from that, man. Like, I'm done with you, and it breaks my heart, because I loved Kanye, you know? I really loved him. He was a part of my life changing." The grief in his words revealed just how deeply Kanye had once mattered to him. This wasn't just a musical partner, this was someone Cudi had admired, learned from, and built with. And now, that bond was ashes, but while the loss was heartbreaking, Cudi also made it clear that he has found peace in moving on. In interviews surrounding the book, he's explained that letting go of Kanye was like shedding a toxic relationship, painful at first, but ultimately freeing. At some point, he was a really good friend, but the man that he has become, "I just don't know that guy anymore," he admitted. "I don't know that version of him, and it's really heartbreaking." Cudi's reflections also highlight a broader truth about celebrity friendships in the digital age. When relationships fall apart, they don't just end in private. They unravel in public, magnified under the harsh spotlight of fame and social media. For Cudi, this meant enduring years of being pulled into Kanye's controversies, from Twitter tirades to political outbursts to very personal attacks. And eventually, enough was enough. Today, Kid Cudi is focused on his own growth. At 41, he's no longer the young artist chasing approval from his mentor. He's an established legend in his own right, a Grammy winner, a cultural icon, and an artist whose influence on hip-hop and mental health advocacy is undeniable. His memoir isn't just a story about losing Kanye, it's a story about finding himself. For Kanye, the fallout with Cudi adds to a long list of fractured relationships, from Jay-Z to Drake to Kid Cudi himself. But for Cudi, the ending is bittersweet. Yes, he's closing the door on a brotherhood that once defined an era, but he's also stepping into a future where his happiness no longer depends on someone else's chaos. As he told CBS, "Heartbreak may leave scars, but it doesn't define the rest of the journey. I've had a lot of things in my life break my heart," he said, "and I've been able to survive and move past it." For fans, that survival is what matters most. The era of Kid Cudi and Kanye West may be over, but Kid Cudi himself is still here, stronger, wiser, and ready to keep writing his story without the shadows of the past.